Ladies and gentlemen, the guy you've all been waiting for. Here is Lou Corona.
Shh, 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 shh. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Very, very grateful to be here today. And so excited about having this moment with you. This is going to be great. It's going to be really powerful today. You're going to learn about some things that maybe you already knew, and then you're going to know more. This is all about whatever we can do to enhance the integrity and the quality of our health and wellness, right? So whatever you can glean and learn today and take home with you, all the better. So I'm very thankful to have this special time with you, just to have this chance to share the teachings all over again. And even though I've shared it many times in many different parts of the world and to many different people, I feel like it's the first time I've ever done it again. I treat it fresh and alive like that. I feel like I have never shared these teachings ever in the same way. It's always been sort of like the clouds. You know how you see the clouds and they're in different shapes? Every time you walk outside and you see the clouds, they're never the same, right? But yet they're the clouds. It's kind of like that with these teachings. And so however I display or share the concept and the teachings, however it comes through today, all I can ask is that however it comes through the guidance that I've been given and whatever I'm being led to say, let's just say that it will leave you inspired and motivated and educated enough to shift your consciousness and expand it so you can adopt these teachings on a deeper level. So it can actually enhance the integrity and the quality of your health and wellness in every aspect of your life. That's what this is about. So to your whole process of cleansing, healing, regenerating yourself, and then regaining, maintaining incredible health and wellness, that's the intention. So I'm just so excited about having this chance to share it with you. So first, I'd like to start off with just give you a little bit of a background, where I came from. So I was raised right here in Orange County, California. My first 21 years was just an average conventional life, like most people. And my mom was a great cook, so I like to brag about how she made incredible Italian food, Mexican food, even American food, and even made pastries and all kinds of things. And so I was raised this way. And then as a teenager, I got into the fast foods and the Twinkies and all these different things. And so I finished up high school. I went in the Air Force, but while I was in the Air Force, I was doing fine in the beginning. And I was going to the bathroom like a couple times a day, and everything seemed to be fine. I went through boot camp with flying colors. Everything seemed to be copacetic. But then after a few months, I noticed that I started struggling to be able to go to the bathroom. I struggled digesting my food, processing it, eliminating and all that. And I started becoming toxic. And before I knew it, going from the bathroom twice a day to once every 2 to 3 weeks at a time. And my body became toxic in the process. But as that happened, I started developing like severe acne, allergies, hay fever, rashes, itching, developed a big tumor behind my head, which I call pockets of toxins, right? So whether it's fatty tumors or protein tumors, there's still pockets of toxins, okay? That's what I call them these days. But then I ended up with chronic asthma, congestion, pain in my joints, things like that. So after several months of suffering, one day I hit this certain point where I realized that we were created to be healthy and to enjoy a quality life and never be sick. And so when I got real clear about that, it was almost like God was speaking to me, and I picked up on it. And I was in the hospital at the time waiting for medication that I had to take. I was literally dependent on medication just to breathe. Chronic asthma was so severe that I had to take intravenous medication and oral medication just to breathe. What was ironic about it is that before this, I could run a mile in 4.5 minutes. I could do 4 minutes underwater. I could run 30 miles nonstop before all this happened to me. So for me to end up like this, a guy that didn't smoke, drink, or take drugs, and just my health was just deteriorating, and I was crashing with my health. And so, but in the process, and having several months of suffering and getting worse and worse, and I was facing surgery for the tumor. I was taking all these medications for the chronic asthma, several months of that, and I had this insight. Wait a minute. We were created to be healthy and never be sick. What's happening? Like, why is this happening to me? Like, what did I do? Right? So that in that moment, I literally surrendered. This is the real secret for me. The real secret for me was that I completely surrendered to God, and I actually asked, in the moment, what is it that I'm doing that's causing what I have? All these things that I'm going through, like, how did I get here? I want to know what's causing my issues. I want to know solutions, what I can do to turn it around, and I also want to know how to live from now on, so that way I can get well and stay well and have a great life, like we're supposed to, from the beginning, right? Have a quality life. And then from there, I can fulfill my purpose here. Now, a long time ago when I was 16, I had an accident, and I was all busted up, and I got all healed up miraculously. But after that, I started having a dream every night for a year. And every night, I saw these 7 healing centers that I was shown. They were beautiful facilities out in the country, big gardens, big orchards. These beautiful, radiant people were in there, and people came from all over the world to these places so they could be healed from whatever they had. And I was part of it. And so about a year later, I came to the conclusion that this was God's way of showing me a projection of my future. He was like calling me out to take this on in my life. So I caught on to it, and I made a vow that that's what I would do with my life, is to create 7 healing centers into the future. When the time's right, when the money's there, the time's there, whatever, the timing. And so I made a vow at 17. So a few years later go by, now I'm 21, and I've got all this stuff going on in the Air Force, and I've got this tumor, I've got this, I got that, and I'm thinking, how could I ever create 7 healing centers into the future to bring healing to people if I'm like this? So I need God to help me understand what's causing my issues, solutions, and how to live from now on so I could get well, stay well, and fulfill my purpose. That was my driving force. But in that moment, when I made that request, I said it in Jesus' name, Yeshua's name, just like my mom taught me. In that moment, I actually felt a presence right next to me. And I was told to walk away. And I did. And I left the hospital. And so that night, I woke up with a chronic asthma attack, and I was suffocating. I thought I was gonna just check out right then. The doctor had already told me, I'm talking about a medical doctor in the hospital. I was in the Air Force. He told me if I don't take my medication and have a chronic asthma attack, I'm gonna die. He says hundreds of thousands of people die every year from it if they don't take their medication. So while I was suffocating, I was thinking, well, I felt like I was on my last breath or two. And so while I was suffocating and my chest getting tight and I can hardly breathe, and I'm right there. And I remember what the doctor said. And the medications are history. I stopped. I walked away from all of it. I walked away from the hospital. I walked away from everything. So I'm laying there and I'm thinking, okay, well, this is it. I mean, so I said, Heavenly Father, look, either if it's my time, it's my time. You either take me right now and I'll serve you in spirit forever, or show me so I can fulfill my purpose here. And in that moment, all of a sudden, I felt this tingling warm sensation just rush through my body. And then all my pain was gone. My discomfort, my suffocation and all that went away. And I had a total reflection of my whole life. And and I was covered by a bright light. I was shown these teachings, and I was shown the teachings. I was shown what to do. I was taken different places to help give me some understanding. I woke up the next day with it, and I was so grateful just to get through the night and wake up the next day. And I had this attitude like, wow, I'm still here. Wow, I get to get up. Because before that, when I got up in the morning, it was like I woke up in the morning before like, oh, I was so groggy and I didn't want to get up, and I felt like, oh, I got to get up. I got to go to work. I got to go to school. It was always like that before. But this time when I woke up, it was like, oh, wow, I'm still here. It's like, like I woke up and I realized that I had almost died, and I felt like I died, went to heaven and came back. And I went through this incredible experience, embraced by this bright light and everything. And when I came back, I realized this is real. I'm back. And then I took on these teachings, and within 6 months, I went through detox, and all these evil things came out of my body. And 6 months, the tumor was gone, the acne was gone, the asthma thing was gone. Everything was gone, cleared up. And that was like just about 52 years ago. And I've been well ever since. It's been an incredible journey. So that's why I'm here, right now, before you, to say that these 4 principles may be simple, but they're powerful. So as you learn them and apply them, I'm still evolving myself with them. I'm still working towards mastering these 4 principles myself, even after 52 years, So for me to be coming into 73 and nearly 52 years of living it and doing it, it's been an incredible journey. It really has. It's been amazing. And that's why we created Paradigm, to make it available to the world, to make these teachings founded on these 4 principles available to the world. In the near future, there'll be training modules to explain more in detail how to apply them, how to put them into practice. It's going to be life-changing, transformational. So anyway, I'm so excited about getting on to the next level here. So, yeah.
I'm going to take a step forward because the sun is hitting your face.
What sun?
The sun is coming in. Trust me.
Oh. I thought that was a light. It acts like the sun. Are we back?
Yep.
Good. Oh. So before I really get inside the talk itself and the 4 principles, I want to do a little demonstration for you. I think it's very insightful and it's really powerful. Very simple concept, but I wanted you to witness it right off the chute. So I'll go ahead and do that. Let me see. Before I put all this stuff on the table, excuse me, I want to do this little physical thing. So, get some water. This little physical thing here is just to, just to demonstrate, you might say, cellular integrity, core energy. If you have that working for you, whatever age you are, You can do it on the fly. You can do it just as easy as. So when I say I haven't worked out at the gym for 54 years since high school, in 1970 when I graduated from high school, but what I have been doing is following the 4 principles, right? So as you learn them today, this is just an outcome. So for me to be at this age, coming into 73, and have this kind of core energy, even without training for it, it's just amazing. I'm going to show a little demonstration here for you. Let's see here. Let me see here. Oh, you know what? I just remember I need a glass of water or something. Yeah. But I need like a cup or something to put it in. Oh, thank you. All right. Let's see here. You see the light here, right? So this is what happens when I put the probes in there. So I just put the probes in the water. You see no light, right? And this is the fresh juice called a lemon ginger blast. So the lemon ginger blast is something I've been drinking like a quart of it every morning for the last 52 years. The lemon ginger blast has lemon, apple, ginger, turmeric, habanero, cucumber, celery, parsley, cilantro, mint, black kale, and dandelion greens, and fennel. But what it does when you drink it is it oxygenates you, hydrates you, alkalinizes you. It also detoxifies your body, but it also energizes your cells, but it also neutralizes free radicals from damaging your cells. So it's a very powerful drink, 32 ounces every morning. So when I say it energizes you as one of the things that it does out of many things, watch this. The energy, the electrolytes are so high, watch what happens to the light bulb. See that? It didn't do that with water, did it? Here's cooked food. There's 2 of them. There's 2 cooked oatmeal cereals put in here. So when I put the probes in the cooked food, you don't see any light there, do you? Same thing with this one. Okay. So now what we're going to do, this is almond coconut yogurt. This is a full-blown culturized sprouted almonds and coconut whipped together into a cream, and it's been cultured. And I culturized it with Life Biotic. It's a very powerful probiotic. It's got 5 bacterial strains in it. It's highly proteolytic. It's a 5-star probiotic. It's incredible from Paradigm, right? But the friendly bacteria that are in there break down the proteins, carbs, and fats into micronutrients. We're talking about amino acids, fatty acids, glucose. Makes it very easy to digest, very bioavailable to your cells to build that lean muscle, hair, skin, and bones, and everything else. Manufacture more enzymes and hormones in your body and keep you in balance. Keep you with cellular integrity. It's all about cellular integrity, right? That's why I did that little demonstration for you. See, that's cellular integrity in action. But this is true, raw, living foods, plant-based organic, right? But look at the energy in this. That's life energy right there. That's incredible. Here's the lemon ginger blast again. I love that one. So awesome. And this one here is another raw living food. But this is almond coconut yogurt whipped up with cilantro, avocado, little salt, little garlic. But look at the energy in this one. See? That's living food. The real deal. That one actually feeds you and gives you life, gives you energy. If you eat cooked food, dead food, it takes life from you in exchange. So that's why people are checking out much earlier in life than they ever have before. So I think it's interesting when you see this next thing coming up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these powerful enzymes, right? Now, most people take, 4 or 5 with each meal. So I'll just put 3 for now. Take one of these little guys. So what I just did is I just put the enzymes, these powerful enzymes, I should say full spectrum, these plant-based, full spectrum, highly active enzymes, we put them in this cooked food, and we're mixing this cooked oatmeal cereal with the enzymes. But as we're mixing the enzymes and the oatmeal together, that little bit of moisture that's still left in there, it's enough to activate the enzymes. But as the enzymes are getting activated, it's breaking down the proteins into amino acids, the fats into fatty acids, the carbohydrates into glucose. So Lysozyme is a very powerful, I would call it a superior multiple digestive enzyme that has 16 different kinds of enzymes in it that helps to compensate for the enzyme deficiencies in our food. So if you want to maximize your ability to digest your food better, so you can assimilate, metabolize better, eliminate better, run more efficient, then you're going to incur taking enzymes with your meals like I've done for over 48 years, right? And now, of course, most of you know that I don't eat cooked foods anymore. So I stopped eating animal protein and cooked foods, 52 years ago? But about 48, 49 years ago, I started slamming enzymes. Plant-based, full-spectrum, highly active enzymes with my meals. Why? It's because organic food is running anywhere between 30 to 80% enzyme deficient and mineral deficient. So I chose to do something to compensate for that. And that's why I've been taking the enzymes with the meals to help compensate for the enzyme deficiencies in the organic food. Now, a few thousand years ago, our soil was so rich, like vitally rich, that you could just eat food off the land and you didn't have to take any supplements. You didn't have to take enzymes or anything with your food because the food itself was adequate. It was rich. It was vital, right? But the vitality and the activity, the life force in our food today is not what it used to be back then, okay? And over the years, these last couple hundred years, our soil has become more and more depleted just through time. So when I saw my friend from his deathbed, skin and bones, spring back to life within 6 months, when he was about ready to check out, when I saw him spring back, working with these powerful enzymes and probiotics and all that, got into the fresh juices, got into living foods and all that, and came back in 6 months in a really powerful way, it got my attention. So I studied it, I learned it, and I got more and more deeper into it. And I started learning more about how to do blood work with, live blood analysis and all that. And I could see it in the blood, and oh my gosh, it just took it to a whole new level. Oh, I'm looking for a spot here. So, here's another. I just need to separate this guy. Now, you see, when I put the enzymes, these superior plant-based full-spectrum highly active enzymes, Livezyme, right? What it did to the oatmeal, right? It broke it down, pre-digested it like it's supposed to normally in the stomach. You see the other one that no enzymes? It's cooked. It's sticky, gooey, right? So when people eat cooked food or enzyme deficient food, the body has to use more of its own enzymes to digest it, more than you remanufacture. That's what's happening with many of us, is we're using more of our own enzymes to digest our food, more than we remanufacture. And when that happens, it depletes our enzyme potential. So the quicker you use up your enzyme potential, it sets you up for sickness and for illness and so on. It's a really serious issue that's going on. We're depleting our enzyme potential. Our life force is just dropping from one day to the next. And that's why in the country, half the people are gone by 65, the other half is gone by 78 on the average, right? So now you can see that we pre-digested this cooked food and broke it down into micronutrients so your body can easily absorb it now and utilize it. So this is what happens when you take enzymes in your stomach. I'm just showing it outside of the stomach so you can see that these enzymes actually work on breaking down your food so you can absorb it better. You can absorb the micronutrients through the walls of the intestinal tract into your blood and into your cells, right? But look at the interesting thing that happens now. With cooked food, no light. With live food, you got light, right? That's cooked food with enzymes. You see the light there, right? But with living food, it's different. So when I did the almond coconut yogurt and pre-digested it with the powerful probiotics and culturized it, the life force inside this, it's even higher, it's even better. Look at that. Is that incredible or what? I mean, it's just like, whoa. And this is the cilantro dip I made with almond coconut yogurt, with the avocado and the cilantro, a little garlic and salt and lemon. Look at that, this is crazy. But don't forget that lemon ginger blast, right? I love that drink. So, it looks like I need a couple volunteers here to taste the almond coconut yogurt. Would you be willing? Okay. So this is just a little sample of almond coconut yogurt. Give us your opinion of almond coconut yogurt, Anthony.
All right. That's pretty good, you guys.
Now, can you imagine how you can make smoothies, dressings, soups, dips, sauces, ice creams with this?
Oh yeah, I can definitely imagine that.
Well, the thing is that you can do a little more than that, because actually you've been living this lifestyle for 15 years on raw living foods, cultured foods, taking enzymes and living the lifestyle yourself. 15 years you've been doing that plus, and you're only 37.
Only 37. It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll just share with you guys real quick. I just finished 45 days of lemon ginger blast, and this was just the most amazing. Like just the palate, like oh my god! So that's all I want to share.
Oh, you mean after 45 days of?
Since we're live on the air, would you do that again?
Absolutely. Excuse me. Yeah, so I just finished 45 days of lemon ginger blast. Just as Lou has shared with you, just Spirit told me to do that, and it was the right thing for me to do. And after finishing that, the first meal I had was just a bowl of freshly made lemon ginger of the almond coconut yogurt, and it was phenomenal. Like just the taste, I was like, oh my god! I was like, this is amazing. This is the best thing I've ever ate. and it's just such a good reminder that nothing beats the flavor of freshly made, properly prepared living foods. And that's just the only thing I wanted to share with you guys. It's just phenomenal. So me taking taking a bite of that, it's great, but like it's just amazing to have all the time. So yeah.
But this is the second sample. Now this is almond coconut yogurt. That was just plain almond coconut yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, we enhanced it with the cilantro and the garlic and the avocado.
You're spoiling me right now, Lou.
So let's see what this is like.
All right.
All freshly made, you know.
I don't think you guys are gonna like it. I think I'm gonna have to be the one to have it right now, just for me. No, I'm just joking, but it's phenomenal. It's great. I mean, it's
So
there's so many
after
things,
45 days, would you rather have this one or this one? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, do I really have to choose which one? I'd have both, man. No, but really, I really enjoy this because
Yeah.
it's so plain and
Yeah.
it's like the cornerstone of
Yeah.
so many different recipes. Like I've made so many smoothies. I've made dressings like that before.
Sure.
I've made soups. I've done so many things with it. I've even made ice cream and desserts with it. So,
Sure,
there's so
absolutely.
many things you can do with it. It just depends like what you're really feeling. If you
In the
want
moment.
something savory,
Yeah.
that's like a guacamole dip, it's
Right,
delicious, right? But this is like bread and butter. This is like rice for me. It's like a
But
staple.
better, yeah.
But better, right? It's amazing.
Oh yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying it for all these years myself, so I'm right with you. Well, it's been great to just interact with you about this because I never
Yeah,
had a
thank
chance
you.
to do this.
Yeah, thank you for having me come up and sample. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
thank you for being here
Yeah.
today.
All right,
This is
so
awesome.
I'll give this to you. And excuse me.
Oh
Carry on.
yeah, carry on. Let's do this. Thank you. After we're all done and said, this will be in the back room, so you guys can sample it and try it for yourself and find out if it's really, if it all matches up with you, with your taste buds, Yeah. So let me just take it to the back. Can you take it back there for them? Yeah. Thank you. I do this before it spills anywhere.
You don't wear glasses.
That's a great question. Ask me about eyesight and the glasses and all that when we open up for questions and answers. That's a really great question, though. It's a great question to ask. Because when I was a kid, I was about 10, I got acetone in my eyes. Acetone is a harsh chemical. And if it hadn't been for that water hose next to me and washed my eyes out real quickly, I definitely would have been blind that day, But then later on, I got battery acid in my eyes from an accident. And then the chemical from this harsh chemical that they remove wax off the floors with, that came into my eyes too when I was a young teenager. All three accidents. And when I was 21, by the time I was 21, I was about ready to go blind. I mean, my eyes got real blurry and I couldn't see really well at all. I was struggling. That's besides, what I mentioned to you earlier about the tumor and the acne and all that. It was also my eyes were going. So, so when I learned this whole concept of the 4 principles and learned how to take this herb called eyebright and cayenne pepper and how to make sun tea out of it and wash my eyes out with it and how to do the eye exercises with it and everything, and through the power of prayer also, within 6 months I was able to see perfect all over again. And that's why when these healing centers come about in the future that I envision, I definitely want to incorporate this concept inside the regime that people can go through, to recover. Because in the last 5 years, in the last 34 years of traveling all over the world, helping and coaching people how to cleanse, heal, regenerate themselves, there was about at least 5 people that were willing to do what I just said. And within 6 months, they threw away their glasses. Whether they were farsighted or nearsighted. I mean, I got to witness that. I got to see that and walk them through it. So it just worked for me. It worked for others. But there's very few that are willing to do the things that I did to make it happen, you see. That's why I say, those of you that are here today, and those that are here maybe watching through the live stream thing, bless your hearts. Bless your hearts. I can just pray that you can glean and learn and apply these things that you're going to learn today. Now, what I've done so far with the oatmeal demonstration, the light test, did all that make sense to you? Was that powerful? Yeah? Good. Now, when I talked about the causes of sickness and diseases and why is it that we're suffering as people, what is the real cause to what is it? What is it inside of us that's really causing sickness and diseases and stuff? What is it that we're doing that causes us to suffer? Because it was one of the things that I was asking first, like, why am I suffering? Like, how did I get here? So, but what I learned through the whole process, through the near-death experience and through mentorship and going through the process of it all, the healing process, the whole cleansing healing process, I learned that toxic thinking was one of the things that was leading me to the suffering. Toxic thinking, stinking thinking, negative thinking. So we do have this ability to shift our consciousness, shift our way of thinking. We can actually think very powerfully, positively, constructively, creatively. We can be very powerful in our thinking. We can make very powerful decisions in our lives that will lead and direct us and redesign our lives, reset our whole lives, just by thinking powerfully. We can make these powerful decisions like, I'm making a clad iron decision to cleanse, heal, regenerate, balance, harmonize every cell, every organ, every gland throughout my being. You can actually think that. You can say that. You can manifest that inside your being that you have. This physical body that we have is a physical body. It's a vehicle for us to live through and to express through, right? But there's a really powerful, powerful spirit within us. There's God's spirit within us that expresses through us, right? It can actually make a decision on your behalf and make a command and say, I choose to cleanse, heal, regenerate, balance, harmonize every cell, every organ in your body. So you can be youthful, you can be radiant, you can be strong, you can be vibrant, you can have abundance of energy, great strength, feel great, and enjoy a quality life. That's what you want to create for yourself, right? Is that making sense? I'm just saying. When I did that, within 6 months of thinking it, feeling it, saying it, and putting my heart into it, and it just manifested itself. But in my case, it took me 6 months because I wasn't used to thinking that way. Because before, I was thinking more negatively, that I wasn't good enough, or I wasn't smart enough, or I couldn't think that I could ever measure up, or all these negative thoughts can destroy us. They can distort the integrity and the quality of the cells. That's why we need to be conscientious and more selective to what we choose to think. It's the same thing with emotions. So emotions, they call them toxic emotions. So if you have any kind of negative emotions, toxic emotions going on, like fear, anger, resentment, guilt, shame, grief, all those negative emotions can actually distort the integrity and the quality of the cells of the body. That's why we want to choose to get clear and complete with the past, even the present and the future. So when we choose to love and forgive and choose to love and appreciate and respect and honor this wonderful life that we've been given, game changer. So when you get in my presence and you can sense this feeling of love inside me, and this excitement inside me, this enthusiasm, or whatever you want to call it, this thing about wanting to be better or get better, feel better, do better, and just keep loving you, keep expanding us, and keep evolving, keep growing inside of this mix, to choose to live a peaceful, harmonious, joyous life. There is a way to protect and manage and guard our thoughts and our emotions. There is a way. There's a way to do that. Just want to point out that this toxemia is the root cause of all sickness and all disease. But it starts with the way you think and also the emotional state that you walk in. But also relates to the toxic environment that we're exposed to. So free EMFs from the chemicals that we're exposed to can also distort our health, obviously. But the next thing is a toxic body. So if we started having, from a physical perspective, if we started having an accumulation of undigested proteins, carbs, and fats, because maybe we're consuming dead foods and we're using more of our own enzymes to digest those dead cooked foods and put it in our bodies, well, then we become enzyme deficient. But when you become enzyme deficient, then you start developing this inability to digest properly. So it is our purpose to digest all the proteins into amino acids, all the carbohydrates into glucose, and all the fats into fatty acids, so it can carry the minerals into the body, so it can activate the enzymes and manufacture those hormones and manufacture those enzymes, manufacture muscle, hair, skin, bones, and everything else, and maintain what they call cellular integrity. At the same time, while it's doing all that, eliminate the waste byproduct, eliminate the waste out of the body. The idea is to run efficient. So digest well, assimilate well, metabolize well, burn clean, burn efficient, but also eliminate the waste and run clean and efficient. It's about efficiency. Because if you don't have that going on, and you start accumulating undigested proteins, carbs, and fats that are putrefying, fermenting, and acidifying in the body, that attracts parasites, that attracts bacteria, that attracts yeast, and what have you. But when it's attracting these critters into the body, these little critters are living on that waste, and they multiply. And the waste that excretes from their little bodies into your body, it's highly acidic, and it's very poisonous. And that's why people have cancer and diabetes and tumors and infections and obesity and fibromyalgia, endometriosis and headaches and rashes and itching and blah, blah, blah. Does that make any sense to you guys? But who talks about this type of language in here? I mean, you don't hear it in the schools. I never heard it all the way through school. I never heard it. Are you beginning to understand now it's important for us to think powerfully, be powerful in our thought process, but also be powerful in guarding your emotions. Love, respect, honor, appreciate your life, as well as everyone else around you, right? Spread that. They say, be slow to anger, quick to forgive, right? Live a peaceful, harmonious, joyous, powerful, purposeful life, right? So let's do that. But when it comes to the whole chemical thing, well, then that's why people are becoming more conscientious and using products to clean their body or clean their clothes or clean their home with plant-based, non-chemical based type of products, right? Now, when it comes to food, feeding your body, that's why more and more people are shifting and getting more into a plant-based, organic, raw living foods or cultured foods and all that. They're evolving more into that because it's easier to digest it, it's easier to absorb it, it's easier to metabolize and convert it into energy and build that lean muscle, hair, skin, and bones. They make more enzymes and hormones and maintain that cellular integrity that I talk about. Because when you have that going on, it's over. So anyhow, let's see, I don't know if you can you see that from back there? Okay. So when I talk about a toxic body and all this undigested food that happens, let me see here. When we end up with toxemia of the body itself and all this undigested proteins, carbs and fats, you end up with poor digestion. So you end up with poor assimilation, poor metabolism, poor elimination. That's why the country is constipated. That's why we have what they call a multi-billion-dollar industry today called the laxative industry. It exists because people are taking these harsh laxatives just to get them to go to the bathroom because they're not going to the bathroom. They're not really digesting properly or eliminating properly, and they're suffering. They're struggling with their elimination process. So they take these harsh laxatives. Is that the ultimate solution? Not really, but it's there because that's all they know. Because over many, many years, nobody's really had access to really powerful enzymes of this caliber that we're talking about today. These are very simple, but yet very powerful enzymes that have no fillers. And we're using whole food cofactors. So it's a superior, high activity, high spectrum, broad spectrum of enzymes that can actually help us digest better. So we don't end up with that poor digestion anymore. We can actually improve and enhance and assist us to digest better so we can assimilate, metabolize better, eliminate better, run more efficient. It just takes time. So you can see there's a lot of corrective changes that we need to do to correct that up. Now, the internal goal is to have clean, healthy blood, like on the right side, clean, beautiful, healthy cells, red blood cells like that. It's called live blood analysis. So when the red blood cells are nice and separate, nice and round, clean and healthy like that, this is when you feel amazing. This is when you're radiant, you're strong, you're healthy, everything's going great. But on the left side, I know it's a bit of a distance, but when the red blood cells are sticking and clumping, and you have a bunch of undigested proteins, carbs, and fats, and you have all these toxins in your blood, this is what leads us to illness and diseases and so forth. So the solution is for us to adopt the 4 principles for one, but I want to just clarify that the red blood cells, the chemical breakdown on red blood cells is very similar and almost practically identical to chlorophyll in your plants. That green stuff in your plants, chlorophyll, we're talking about they're so close to each other, there's only one thing's different from one to the next. The red blood cells, as you can see on the left side, in the nucleus of the chemical breakdown, says iron. On the right side is magnesium. But everything else is exactly the same. So all I'm trying to say is that take your greens in. Get plenty of greens. When I talk to you about drinking the lemon ginger blast for 52 years, it's very high in greens. I told you the ingredients earlier. So it's a very, very powerful drink. It's something that you might consider doing just because our foods today are lacking. And that's what, by putting all these different plants all together in the juice form, like I said before, our plants today, our produce today that come off the organic, even the organic soil, is running so enzyme and mineral deficiencies. That's why we do things to help compensate for that. One thing I want to cover is about the pH just to give you a glimpse of the blood pH. Your blood pH likes to run around 7.4. That means 7 is neutral. So if you're running a little bit more alkaline than acid, that's where your blood likes to run. But if you're living on an acidic diet, per se, and your body's running more acidic than acid, and you're under 7, then the body will compensate and will strip minerals from your bone, from your teeth, from your hair, from your tissue. It will pull and strip minerals right out of your body, including calcium, to compensate, to make your blood alkaline like it's supposed to be, to compensate for that. But if you keep stripping from your body like that, then you end up with brittle bones later on down the road. That's why so many people out there are walking around with what they call osteoporosis. So osteoporosis is just basically brittle bones. So later on in life, when people get a little bit older, in their 70, 80, whatever, they might fall down or slip and they break bones all the time because of osteoporosis. And it's just brittle bones because they've been stripping and stripping from their bones for so many years, running acidic. So blood pH is one of those vital things you want to learn to manage. You can get pH strips, they call them blood pH strips, and you can wake up in the morning and urinate on a little strip and then look at your scale and see where you're at. If you're under 7, you're acidic. But you can also get the book called Alkalinize or Die and look at the chart, and you can see acidic forming foods and alkalinizing forming foods and start consuming more alkaline forming foods to help start balancing out your blood pH. It's just a vital thing you need to consider to start monitoring yourselves. Just wanted to give you a blurb on that because it's vital, because it's important. So many people get into health and don't monitor their blood pH and don't know much about it, and then they end up crashing and burning with their health and don't know why. It's one of the reasons, just so you know. Another reason why people are suffering is because their lymphatic system is plugged up or running very sluggish. So I just put this up there just to give you a reminder. It's important to stimulate your lymphatic system and make sure that lymphatic system is working and working well in your body to help process waste byproduct out of the body. So it's not just digesting, absorbing, metabolizing, but also eliminating properly, making sure that all your 4 limited organs are working really, really well. So you want your lymphatic system to be working in your favor and doing whatever you can to stimulate. That's why one of the principles that's coming up will help address that. But at the same time, I just want you to know that it's vital. It's really, really important. And if I put emphasis on it, hopefully you'll take it on and really expound on it. But when the lymph gets plugged up, because see, the lymph, once it's properly stimulated, it processes waste byproduct out of the body through 4 limited organs: the bowels through defecation, the kidneys through urination, the skin through respiration, and the lungs through respiration, and then the skin through perspiration, right? But we need to exercise these particular limited organs in our body, because if you don't, you're going to pay for it. You're going to start accumulating toxins again. And so to run clean and efficient is part of the secret behind it, is to make sure you're not just digesting well and processing and eliminating well, but also hydrating well, breathing well, stimulating the lymph well, so you can run efficient. It's all about efficiency, right? Here's a guy that full-blown diabetic, gangrene. They were going to amputate his feet, and just within a week, the gangrene infection was gone after practicing these 4 principles on a deeper level, therapeutically. Cleaned it up in 7 days. And all this waste that came out of his body, we're talking volumes and volumes of this waste came out of his body. It was just a lot of putrid matter that came out of his body in those 7 days. But after we got all that waste out of his body Like we hit them hard with enzymes and herbs and probiotics, a lot of juicing, a lot of colonics, a lot of body work, a lot of prayer. But 7 days later, got that gunk out of his system. You saw the enzymes, how it broke down that sticky oatmeal and broke it down. Imagine when you're taking enzymes therapeutically, high doses of it throughout the day, right? With the herbs and the proper fibers and blah, 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 and the juicing and everything, and the colonic, all this and all the body work and everything, and the hot co-applications. This gunk came out of his system by like volumes of it, volumes and volumes. So much stuff was coming out of his body. It was like almost unbelievable. But when his gangrene went away, but within 4 months, his diabetes was gone. You know, I thought that was amazing, along with it. And within 6 months, he was running 2 miles a day with those same feet. You know, it's been a remarkable journey just watching things like this happen with many people. What's the solution? The 4 principles. These 4 principles we're going to cover, short and sweet, but powerful. The first one really is about how you communicate spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. This way of communicating. I kind of talked to you a little bit about, you know, how you communicate with your spiritual side. Remember when I mentioned to you, I was very specific. I said, God, I need you to show me what is it, or guide me, give me some understanding. What is it that's causing my issues? I want to know. I want to know what are solutions and things I can do to help me turn things around for myself. Because I now understand that you designed me to be healthy, all of us. I get that. So I want to know, what have I done to end up like this? What am I saying, doing, eating, whatever it is? I just want to know, how did I get here? Show me. I somehow knew that if I could understand what was causing my issues, I knew that if I could just stop doing whatever that is, I would have a chance to start turning things around. Does that make sense? Because I was a mechanic in the Air Force, I worked on the jet engines. As a mechanic, I knew before you can fix a problem, you have to know what causes it. So mechanically speaking, you have to know whether it's a mechanical issue, electrical issue, or maybe a fuel issue. You may not be getting the fuel going into the motor properly, or maybe you don't have the electricity flowing through the motor properly and not getting the electrical charge where it needs to be at the time. Or it could be a mechanical issue. But something is causing the motor either not to run or run right. So you have to know and diagnose what's causing the issue before you can fix it. So because I had that knowledge, and I was really an exceptional mechanic, even before I went in the Air Force, I was that kid at 10 years of age rebuilding lawnmower motors already, tearing them apart and not even running and making them run. By the time I was 14, I was already rebuilding 4-cylinder cars, 6 cylinders, 8 cylinders. I could turn them apart, put them back together, and make them run. I could rebuild them, and from not running to running, and running well. By the time I was 15, you know, I was in high school, and the seniors in high school would give me their cars so I could tune them up and do the oil changes and tune them up, overhaul them, and all kinds of stuff, you know. And just having fun doing that. Right? But as a mechanic, thinking mind, very mechanically inclined, so when I was asking God, I want to know, because, you know, the doctors were telling me I need to have surgery on the tumor. So when I asked the doctor, what causes cancer and tumors in the first place, the doctor said, we don't know. What we do know is you have it, and our solution for you, we'll get you scheduled in and have surgery. Your tumor is operable, and we can remove your tumor from behind your head. We can remove it. We can just take it out, sew you up, and then after that, this is what they said. After that, they said, after we sew you up and get you done, after that, all we can do is hope that you get better. All we can do is just hope you get better, and that's it. We'll see you when your schedule, whatever the schedule is. When my schedule showed up for the appointment, I had a little still voice inside me tell me, don't show up. I was told not to go in and have that surgery. Now, somehow, this is kind of like, I'm going to consider it a gift right now, just call it a gift. But somehow I was able to pick up on being instructed not to go have that surgery. Just like the gift of when I said, I want to know what's causing my issues, I don't want to know solutions, I want to know how to live from now on. And I felt I'm going to consider this a gift because not everybody gets to experience this from what I find over the years. I actually felt a presence by me, and then I was told to walk away. And I picked up on that, and I left that hospital. So when I was dying in bed and I was shown these 4 principles, somehow I had the gift to see what I saw and hear what I was guided to do, and I had somehow the willingness and the ability to do the things that I was guided to do. Somehow I had that. That's why when I come here to do this talk, and many talks I've done all over the world, I ask this question. And I pray for this, that the people that come and hear this message, or ever hear this message, whether through a recording or whether it's in person or whatever the case may be, that they have the eyes to see it and the ears to hear what I'm saying and the heart and the intuition to pick up and sense the truth in this message, that they will be able to grab this thing and run with it and have a great life as I've had. That's what I pray for. But anyway, when I was given this knowledge and I was able to have the gift to pick up on it and apply it and put it to practice, well, I got well. That's why this is the most powerful principle. The first principle is the most powerful one because this is where you are making powerful choices in the way you think, powerful choices in the way you feel. Whatever you choose from moment to moment in this precious life, whatever you're choosing to think in the moment you're in, it's your choice, your free will, right? So you can choose to be positive and constructive and creative and make things happen, right? But you can also choose how you want to feel. You can choose to be happy or sad, or angry and resentful, or loving and forgiving. But it's our choice, you see what I mean? So we have this power to choose what we eat and drink, whether it regenerates you or degenerates you. But it's our choice, right? That's why you're being invited to be powerful in the way you decide about what you do in your life, how you choose to think, how you choose to feel happy, excited, and thankful, and grateful, and peaceful, and harmonious, and all that good stuff, right? You can choose what you choose to eat and drink. But when you choose powerfully, then you're going to choose to eat foods and drink things that can actually hydrate you, alkalinize the body. It can feed you in a way where your body is easily able to digest it, absorb, metabolize it, eliminate it, run efficient, and run clean and healthy. So you can live a beautiful, powerful, radiant, healthy quality life, right? But it's our choice. This principle here, the first principle, it's all about that. That's why some people even go as far as creating a declaration and write down exactly what they want to create for themselves. Specifically, how they want to choose to think, how they want to choose to feel, how they want to choose to eat and drink, whatever exercises they want to do, whatever kind of water they want to drink, or whatever they want to choose to do, and action steps they want to take in their life. They can declare it, write it down, and they read it 3 times a day until they manifest it, until it actually happens into their life. You know what I mean? We even have a way how to communicate with our bodies. Our bodies will tell us when it gets thirsty, to drink some water, right? To hydrate the body, right? So it didn't say Kool-Aid and soda pop and other beverages, right? But when the body says, I want water, give it some water. But if you're going to drink water, you want to drink pure alkaline structured energized water, not that El Cheapo water, right? Because if you drink the chemical water or, these waters that have chemicals in them, maybe because it's coming from plastic or maybe because they put things in the water, whatever the case, I'm just saying we need to be more conscientious of what kind of water we're drinking, right? That's why people are turning more into using glass containers to put their water in rather than the plastics more and more. They're becoming more conscientious. So again, this thing about communication, let's just be more specific on what we choose to think and know that we do have the power to choose. Because this is the driving force. This is what drives us. This is what directs our whole life from moment to moment to moment. That's why people ask me the question, how do you stay living this way consistently? Well, because I declared it. I claimed it. I called it. I made that decision. But really, the driving force behind it that supports it is out of love and respect, out of honor, out of appreciation for my life. That's why I'm able to stay inside this lifestyle and stay with it consistently. So if I see something, I can see it and look at it with the distinction that is serving me or not serving me. If this is going to serve me, I take it on. If it's not going to serve me, forget it. So it's the same thing with people. There are certain people that take from you, and there are certain people that honor you and respect you and love you and appreciate you and adore you or whatever. They are sort of complement your life. They add to your life. They're great to be around, right? So you can become selective on, like they say, the birds of feathers fly together kind of thing, right? But a long time ago, the kind of friends I had in school, back in my high school years, they were different than they are today, right? I choose to live differently that honors my life at best, right? So who you associate with, it makes a difference. Makes a huge difference. So the next principle I want to cover is called cellular communication. Forgive me, we already covered cellular communication. That's because I'm so passionate about that one, because it's a driving force for the next three. The next one we're going to talk about is cellular environment. Cellular environment is simple but yet powerful, and a lot of times we miss some of the pieces in cellular environment. All I mean is that we're made up of 35 trillion cells, right? And so how we incorporate the environment, like embrace a little sun every day, learn to breathe slow and deep and get plenty of oxygen, right? Enjoy being outside, enjoy breathing slow and deep and rhythmically and being well oxygenated, because when you do that, it can actually energize you, detoxify you, and keep your body alkaline by doing that. But at the same time, when you're drinking that good water to hydrate your body and keep your body alkaline, you want to drink a pure alkaline structured energized water, and it does that. And you want to drink plenty of it. So rule of thumb is whatever your body weight is, let's say you're 100 pounds, so you divide it by 2, convert it to ounces. So that would be, you drink 50 ounces of water a day if you're 100 pounds, right? So if you're 150 pounds, then you would take and divide that by 2. That's 75, and then 75 ounces of water a day, right? So that gives you sort of an indication about how much water you need to be drinking a day, just to keep your body flushing and regulating and functioning better, keeping it clean and healthy. Another thing I think it's important that we are not just grounding ourselves on the earth or getting grounding mats to keep ourselves well grounded, but also that we grow our food on organic soil. Choose organic over the commercial grown foods, because the commercial grown foods are obviously grown on chemical fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides. We need to step away from that and get into plant-based organic foods, preferably, right? So we're coming from good, clean, healthy soil from the earth itself, and also getting grounded, really well grounded. That's why this cellular environment is important, because a lot of people are not practicing that one, but it's a vital one. The next one's called cellular exercise. So there's two forms of exercise. You got internal exercise and you got external exercise. They're both good, they're both great, but when I tell you I haven't done the external exercise for 54 years since high school, I just mean I haven't been at the gym doing all the stuff I used to do when I was at school. And I enjoyed it, loved it, but I just don't make time for it because I am crazy busy with my schedule, right? But what I have been doing is I've been doing the internal exercising. So internal exercising means I've been doing what they call cellular exercising. So I may do breath work throughout the day. I'm doing stretching throughout the day. I'm doing hot, cold showers daily. I do detox bathing at night quite often. Sometimes I even jump in the sauna and break some sweat and jump in the ice water. I do things like rebounding on a trampoline. You know, I may hit 20 minutes and sometimes more. But that helps, again, stimulate the lymphatic system, but it exercises, oscillates every cell simultaneously throughout your body. So it keeps you pretty toned and pretty strong and healthy. So also body work, you know, if you go and get deep tissue body work, that helps to, again, stimulate the lymphatic system. It helps to detoxify the body by doing that. And also it releases blockages in the body, from energy blockages to physical blockages and so on. So those are things that are helpful. Even dancing vigorously for 20, 30 minutes. I'll do it when nobody's watching, you know, throw in some tunes and dance vigorously. Nobody's watching, and I can dance however I want, you know what I mean? But I break sweat doing it, you know, but it works, you know, keeps you strong. So the fourth principle I want to cover now is called cellular nutrition, cellular food. How do you feed your body from a cellular perspective, right? So I think that we want to take a look at what really works in this life and what doesn't work. If we're going to model after someone on this planet, okay, I find it that, for me, it was very interesting when I had this insightful experience and I learned the four principles. The next day when I woke up, I actually prayed, not just for courage to do the things I was being taught, but I asked also if I could meet someone that could mentor me and take me by the hand and show me the how-to. How do you apply these four principles on a deeper level? How do I really do it? And how do I really get onto it? You know, and how do I incorporate all these things? Because it was so far beyond me, honestly, coming from where I came from. Because I came from, you know, Pizza Hut and Burger King, and you know, I was eating just anything and everything back then, you know, and thinking negatively, and you know, my emotions weren't really that strong and healthy. I was judgmental and critical and all that, and I had resentment about things that happened in my past and so on. So I needed to learn really how to apply all these things, and so I asked. And you know what? They say when a student's ready, a teacher appears. Well, right after that, I don't even know if it was a day or two, but I met this guy, born and raised in Hawaii, traveled the world for 30 years, all over the world, learning, studying with people living 120 plus years in different parts of the world. These are people that the public doesn't even know about, you know. They're so hidden. They're so far away, hidden out in the country or whatever. But so they live remotely. But these little communities that he would come across in different parts of the world that he would find and hike to, these people were living 120 plus years. And what was interesting is he lived and studied them and, I mean, like, worked with them and grew with them and worked in the garden, you know, whatever. But the thing is that these people were living these super long lives, never getting sick, and all of them were living on plant-based raw living foods, cultured foods. So he learned all these different type of things from these people. So when I told him about these teachings, he already knew what they were. These people are living by these 4 principles already naturally. And it's been passed down. So these teachings that I'm talking about really are ancient. It's really ancient knowledge. It goes way back to the beginning. We were designed right from the get-go to live on plants and fresh, not cooked, and learning and soaking seeds, germinating seeds, even learning how to make cultured foods and all that, enzyme-activated, pre-digested some of the foods that they ate. So he learned all this stuff. So he passed it on to me and showed me how to do it. So that's why I had an advantage in a sense. So within 6 months, I recovered and got well and stayed well. And I just kept doing it over and over and over. That's all. That's the. But see, I'm just saying, if we're gonna follow some form of teaching, a pathway, a lifestyle, then we want to follow that pathway, that lifestyle, whatever that's actually working, right? So that's why I was able to not just from a spiritual perspective, but I got to meet somebody that was already living that way physically, and learned it from these really powerful people that were living like that for who knows how long, hundreds and hundreds of years. I mean, it just got passed down from generation to generation. So really, those few people is less than 1% of the people in the world. At one time, we were living this way 100% of the world, whatever amount of people that were here. And that they talk about, and they put writings, there's writings about how people lived hundreds of years back in the day. But somehow we lost sight of it. So part of my stay here on the planet is to bring that knowledge back, to create awareness and bring it back. Because this is where the future's going. Our future is going back to the way we lived in the beginning. And I've just learned how to do it in a creative, fun, enjoyable, satiating way, and do some things to help compensate and to accelerate the cleansing healing process. That's why I mentioned to you earlier, when my friend was skin and bones, like ready to go, and came back in 6 months. So when I learned how to work with enzymes and herbs and probiotics along with the lifestyle and the 4 principles, I knew it was a win-win that could really empower people across the world one day. So about 10 some years ago, when some guy came into my path and I helped him with his wife, he was so inspired by it that he donated $500,000 to form Pyramid and take it global. So when we brought it together, we decided we're going to make the best of the best for the most superior, best, highest quality, for the best possible price to the end user in the world. And that's what happened. And that's how I was born. So you can tell I'm pretty excited and thankful for that. Now, I do want to cover a little bit about Dr. Edward Howell. Dr. Edward Howell is a medical doctor scientist. And what I really appreciate about Dr. Edward Howell is that he spent 50 years of his life traveling all over the world, studying these long-living people, wondering the question, why do they live so long and never get sick? And he found out these people are living on plant-based, raw living foods, enzyme-activated foods, enzyme-rich foods, cultured foods. And he found out that enzymes was the missing link to their health and longevity. They had radiance of health and longevity. He found out from a scientific perspective that it was the life force, the enzyme activity in that food that they were consuming was what made the difference compared to everybody else. Because everybody else, 99% of people in the world are living on enzyme deficient food or enzyme deactivated food called cooked food, right? There is no enzymes in cooked food. There is no life energy, life force in cooked food. Zero. Just remember that. Zero. I was raised on it first 21 years. But when I caught on to this concept, and I was able to distinguish the difference, I said, okay. Isn't it interesting to you guys? I mean, for me too, is that somehow God led me this way. But then I met that guy, and he was able to say, well, all these people I met all over the world, that's what they're doing. So I kind of put them together, right? So I became one of the 1%ers. By choice, I chose to do it that way. But then when my conditions went away and I got well and felt great, then I knew it was real. That's when it became very real to me after that. Once I started cleansing and healing and regenerating and coming back, then I knew it was real. When I get to meet people like Anthony, living on raw living foods and plant-based and everything for 15 plus years, and looks the way he does for 37. Same thing with Jesus, he's been doing it 9 plus years or whatever it is. It's, those are examples of people, but there's many others, so it's been very consistent. It's proven itself. So I just like you to know that Dr. Edward Howell, when he proved scientifically that when the enzyme deficient food goes into your body, whether it's cooked or maybe coming from enzyme deficient soil, when it comes into your body will compensate. Your body will use more of its own digestive enzymes from your pancreas to digest that food more than it remanufactures, which causes an enzyme depletion. So if you want to accelerate aging, if you want to accelerate illness and disease in your body, make yourself enzyme deficient as soon as possible by eating cooked food. Never take enzymes. And you'll age fast and check out of this life much earlier if you do that, right? 70% of people in this country are obese. You know that, right? 70%. Why? Because they're not digesting properly. Talking about a tired pancreas because it's been overworked. There's about 50 million Americans walking around with diabetes and another 90 million walking around with pre-diabetes. They're pre-diabetics. And that's almost half the country. That's a lot of people with a tired pancreas. And these super wealthy, super famous people that are dying from pancreatic cancer, do you think it has anything to do with an enzyme deficiency? You can say yes to that. I'm just saying, we are suffering as people mostly out of ignorance because we just don't know any better. So by creating this awareness is going to help us. Now, what are enzymes? What are they? What are they actually doing for us? They take care of every single function in our body. It's the spark of life. It's enzymes are like protein molecules with electricity running through them. It's a life force, a life energy, electrical energy running through our bodies, and we need them. They're the little workers in our bodies, and we need them in a big way. We're highly dependent on them. We live off of them, right? And there are 3 classes of enzymes that you want to become aware of. You got food enzymes in your food. You got pancreatic digestive enzymes from your pancreas that you secrete. Then you have what they call metabolic enzymes that your body manufactures. Your body manufactures muscle, hair, skin, and bones, right? It also manufactures hormones, but it also manufactures metabolic enzymes. So metabolic enzymes are the ones that take care of the wear and tear of your cells. They're the ones that allow you to think and remember and reason and have happy feelings and blink your eyelids, muscle contraction, metabolic enzymes. Metabolic enzymes are the ones that allow you to reproduce, have babies and more babies and more babies. But without metabolic enzymes, that doesn't happen. So, if you're consuming enzyme deficient food because it's cooked or coming from deficient soil, however, you're not doing something to compensate for that, then what happens is your pancreas gets overworked. But when it gets overworked, you get to that point where it doesn't manufacture as many enzymes that you used to have before, so you become enzyme depleted, enzyme deficient. But then you're not able to produce and manufacture all the metabolic enzymes you're supposed to have to run every aspect of your body, right? To take care of all those things I just mentioned. So when you become metabolic enzyme deficient, your enzyme potential drops. So now you're not going to be able to remember as well, or think as well, or reason as well, or dream as well, have lucid dreams and all that. You're not able to create as well. You're not able to have as muscle contraction anymore. You start losing your muscle tone, your muscle strength, your your integrity and all that. You start losing all that. You start aging fast. You're not able to have that happy feeling anymore. You're not as excited anymore. All that stuff starts diminishing. And then you start moping and poping, you know? And then you start getting to the point you wonder, what happened? Why is this going on? You go out of sync. You start falling apart. You know, all kinds of weird things start showing up. I'm just saying, metabolic enzyme potential is vital. It's really powerful. We want to protect it. We want to make sure we're doing things to manufacture metabolic enzymes, maintain good enzyme potential within ourselves. Because metabolic enzymes, there's like a life force, like a light, right? And so when your metabolic enzymes is rich in your body and you got strong metabolic enzyme potential going on, that is when you're lean, clean, serene. That's when you're radiant, you're strong, you're vibrant, you have abundance of energy, you feel great, and you never get sick. That's what's going on when your metabolic enzyme potential is intact. But how do you get that, and how do you keep that intact? Well, make sure that if you're going to eat food, make sure that food has the integrity. Make sure it's quality, integrity. It's got the potency in it. It's got the vitamins, the minerals, the phytonutrients, the antioxidants, the enzyme activity in that food, that it's all there. Not incomplete, not dead, live, whole foods that are coming from the plants, from the earth, and that come from a seed, per se. I mean, personally, that's why I don't do the algae and the mushrooms, personally, because the things I do consume, like seed vegetables, that come from a seed, right? Or fruits and vegetables, the herbs, that come from a seed, right? But the seeds and nuts that I consume, they're soaked, they're germinated, you know what I mean? Like I told you before. Or even, and if they don't germinate, I at least culturize them, you know, and make them enzyme activated and pre-digest it, right? But I wanted to emphasize that the enzyme, the different kinds of enzymes we have going on are vital for us. Food enzymes have a place in themselves, but they're supposed to be there. We were never designed to destroy the life force, the enzyme activity in our food before we ate it. That's something we got taught a long time ago. We were never ever designed to destroy the life in our food before we ate it. We started doing that a long time ago. And that was the beginning of the end for us as a people. Making any sense to you? But somehow, we got conditioned, we got programmed, and we started doing things different than what was the way we were designed from the get-go. And we fell into that way of doing things, and somehow we were convinced to do that, and we did. And then we started going from living hundreds of years to lesser. Now people are lucky if they even make 100 years in this world today. Anyhow, I think it's interesting, though, in this particular slide here, on the left side, you see enzyme power, and there's a special camera called Gillian photography that can take a picture of any living thing, whether it's a fruit, vegetable, any living thing. It could be an animal, or a human, whatever. But it picks up through, what I call that camera? Gillian photography, yeah. Gillian photography, this special camera, when it picks up this life force, this electrical energy that's any living thing, that's a raw cabbage they took a picture of, but you see the light energy in that cabbage? Well, when they took a picture of the cooked one on the right side, it's dead. There is no light energy, life energy in it at all. It's dead. What's interesting about this slide is 1% of the people in the world that live the longest, that's what they live on, the one on the left side that has life in it, right? And the other one on the right side, 99% of people in the world are trying to live on that one. Have you ever heard that definition of what insanity is? To have doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result, right? So people, 99% of people in the world are trying to eat dead food expecting to be healthy. And that's insane. I'm just saying. I'm saying it to the world right here, right now. It's insane to think you can eat dead food and get life out of it, because it doesn't work that way. Not in truth. Not when it comes to the raw truth, the truth is life begets life. That's it. You know, I did 100 days on juice and water back in the day when I was cleaning up my body and all that. And then I did a 40-day water fast. But inside that experience, I'm telling you, the most evil, wicked stuff came out of my body. And then when I broke down and got rid of everything, and then the tumor was gone, everything was gone, and then my body rebuilt itself right back up. I'm just saying, when it happened, I realized, wow, this simple truth is so simple but yet powerful, and hardly anybody knows about it. That's why I never gave up. And that's why I keep doing what I'm doing. Now I'm going to ask you a quick question. Do you appreciate what I've shared with you thus far? Is it all making sense? Yeah? Well, thank you for that. Because it just gives me that push to keep doing it again and again and again. Now, people who have been experiencing eating dead food, cooked foods, or whatever, enzyme deficient food over the years and have already become enzyme deficient, that means by that time, they've already accumulated enough undigested proteins, that putrefy in the body, undigested fats that turn rancid in the body, undigested carbohydrates that ferment in the body, attracting the parasites and the bacteria and the yeast and the fungus and all that. And that has led them to all kinds of illness in their bodies, okay? So that's why you need to be, we're just kind of coming in the finishing line here, but that's why you want to get, you might say, acquainted with the protein foods that are out there. So people that are eating plant-based, cooked plant-based, or animal-based protein foods in the cooked form, especially, the body will use up an enzyme called protease more than it makes. And so after a while of eating cooked dead proteins, whether it's plant-based or animal-based, as you use up your enzyme called protease in your body, which is the enzyme that breaks down proteins into amino acids, right? But as you're becoming more and more protease enzyme deficient, in time, you start developing this inability to digest proteins into amino acids properly. So when that happens, so let's say you digest half of the proteins into amino acids, but the other half doesn't get digested, that part of the undigested proteins putrefy in the system, and eventually, as it accumulates in the body, attracting parasites and bacteria and yeast and so on, but at the same time, you're not getting all the amino acids from the proteins you're consuming, so that means you don't have all the building blocks either. So that means you're not getting to have the ability to manufacture all that good, strong, lean muscle, hair, skin, and bones anymore, or make the necessary hormones or metabolic enzymes anymore like you're supposed to. So you start becoming not just amino acid deficient, but you start accumulating these undigested proteins that putrefy and accumulate and attracting these critters that live on it, right? So you become toxic, but at the same time deficient in the amino acid chain that you need. Because amino acids, protein amino acids, are your building blocks to build muscle, hair, skin, and bones and make more enzymes and hormones and all that good stuff in your body, including stem cells, right? So you can see that it's really important that you digest all the proteins into amino acids so they can do their job. You don't want undigested proteins accumulating in your body. Does that make sense? Right. Well, that's what's going on. So when Dr. Rahel did, years and years and years and thousands of urine analysis on people, and he discovered that every time a person was protease enzyme deficient, they had those conditions that you see up there. They had all kinds of bacterial, fungal, infections, fungal infections of all kinds. They had tumors and cancers, and they had fibromyalgia, endometriosis, depression, anxiety attacks, loss of muscle tone. They had hormonal imbalances. They had all these things were showing up. Even Crohn's disease was showing up, and Parkinson's. All these things were showing up just because they were protease enzyme deficient, because they weren't getting the amino acids, and they were becoming putrefied, and they became toxic, and they ended up with those conditions, you see. But you can see that him putting 2 and 2 together and figuring out when a person's protease enzyme deficient and they have those conditions, he found out, so what if I can give people some powerful enzymes to help maximize the ability to digest their food, but what if I can give them a particular enzyme called protease enzymes to help compensate for that protease enzyme deficiency going on in their body, and blast them therapeutically with that enzyme so they can get rid of all that undigested protein trapped in their system. Because he discovered that if you can clean up the system and get rid of all that undigested proteins in the system that's leading to their conditions, he could help them recover. So when I saw my friend, Skin and Bones, from cancer come back, then I realized, this is a way how to accelerate the cleansing healing process. But another way how to compensate for the enzyme deficiencies in our food that we have going on today and for many years. That's why I incorporate them in my own personal life, But I knew back then, 52 years ago, I said, one day, somehow, some way, when the time's right, and I'm given the privilege to share these 4 principles and spread throughout the world, I will definitely incorporate the enzyme concept into the mix, along with powerful probiotics, besides herbs, Anyway, let's go on to the next one. So this one here is particularly more related to eating cooked carbohydrate foods. So when you eat cooked carbohydrate foods like pastas and breads and cereals and bagels and chips and corn chips or whatever, these cooked carbohydrate foods, when they go inside and the pastas, when they go inside your system, your body uses up an enzyme called amylase. Because your pancreas secretes an enzyme called amylase. And amylase is what breaks down carbohydrates into glucose, okay? Which gives you lots of energy. But if it's in the cooked form and you're using more amylase than you're making in return, and you're becoming depleted in time eating those type of foods, then here's what happens. The undigested carbohydrates that accumulate in your body due to an enzyme deficiency called amylase, then it ferments. But as it ferments, that fermentation of the carbohydrates turns into alcohol, and it messes with your liver. It blows out your liver. It makes your liver weak and sluggish, and like you have a drinking problem or something. You don't have to even be a drinker and still end up with all kinds of liver issues because of that. But also allergies and joint pain, and that's what Dr. Edward Howe proved. When a person becomes amylase enzyme deficient, you cannot break down carbohydrates into glucose. It ferments, but these are the conditions that showed up from allergies to joint pain to gas, bloating, weight gain. Those things actually showed up in their physical, health. And then if they got insect bites, they would swell up real bad. They was found to be an amylase enzyme deficient. So there's a way to offset that and offset that deficiency by learning how to take amylase between the meals, empty stomach. That's why it's important to understand this. So another thing is, the next slide is about fats, how to break down fats into fatty acids. So when a person is eating fats, whether it's animal-based or plant-based, if they're consuming cooked fats, again, plant-based or animal-based, but if it's cooked, if it's heated, or rancid, a lot of times people eat rancid oils and don't even know it. But my point is, if it's enzyme deficient or maybe cooked or heated, the body will use up an enzyme called lipase. And lipase is that enzyme that breaks down fats into fatty acids. So if you're using more than you're making and you become lipase enzyme deficient and you keep eating these heated oils, cooked foods, heated oils, heated fats from your foods or from fats that are in a concentrated form, however they get inside your body, but if it's cooked, your body will use up that enzyme more than you make, called lipase. Remember, lipase breaks down fats into fatty acids. So fats must be broke down to fatty acids before your body can use it. Keep that in mind. So fatty acids are really important for you because that's what allows you to have good myelin sheath around all the nerves throughout your body. Myelin sheath is the insulation like around a wire. So the nerves have to have insulation around the nerves called myelin sheath. So you need to have good fatty acids to keep and maintain good myelin sheath around every nerve throughout your entire body. You need to have good fatty acids to have nice healthy hair or a supple skin. You need to have good fatty acids for that, right? It's important. But you want to break down all your fats into fatty acids for that to happen. But if you're eating fats that are cooked and you're using up your enzyme, lipase enzyme in your body more than you're making, and you become deficient, well, then it turns rancid. But when it turns rancid, these are the conditions that Dr. Edward Howe proved. You end up with chronic inflammatory conditions, plaquing in the arteries, fat, what do you call them, like cellulite, like the little pockets of fat, fatty tumors, high cholesterol, high triglyceride levels, high blood pressure. All those things are showing up in your system when you have a bunch of fats that have turned rancid. All that shows up, you see. He proved it scientifically, years and years and thousands of people. That's why I appreciate Dr. Edward Howe's work, because all I'm really doing is just reiterating his work so you can understand a little bit better. Because when I try to explain this back 52 years ago, I didn't have Dr. Edward Howe's work and his understanding back then. I was just saying things like, Mom, Dad, let's eat raw living foods. I didn't even know what enzymes was back then. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyhow, probiotics. We just want to understand that probiotics are good, friendly bacteria that we need in our bodies. We want to have at least 80% good, friendly bacteria going in our gut. Because that way you can have a healthy intestinal tract. If you have a healthy intestinal tract with a good army of friendly bacteria, good, healthy intestinal flora going on in your gut, that's a good idea. That means your intestinal tract is clean, it's healthy. You're digesting well, you're absorbing well, you're manufacturing the B complex, B12. Your body is manufacturing, it's eliminating, it's running efficient, it's absorbing good, it's running tight and right, you know. The intestinal tract, inside your intestinal tract, your small intestinal tract is over 20 feet long, and inside that intestinal tract, on the inner wall of the intestinal tract, you have this little thing called villi. Villi is what allows you it's like a root system. So the villi has the ability to absorb these micronutrients, the amino acids, the fatty acids, the glucose, the vitamins, the minerals, phytonutrients, antioxidants, whatever. Those little villi can absorb these micronutrients and take it into the blood, into the cells of the body, and feed you on a cellular level. Now, if you got a lot of good friendly bacteria going on in your gut, and your food is enzyme active, enzyme rich preferably, well, that means you can digest good, you can absorb good, eliminate good. But what's going on with most people out there, including what happened to me back then, is when we're eating cooked foods, enzyme deficient foods, and we're not doing something to compensate for it, especially, what happens is it just doesn't go undigested. Proteins, undigested fats, and undigested carbohydrates, and ferments, and putrefies, and turns rancid. But you also start creating what they call mucoid plaquing. Mucoid plaquing starts building and accumulating inside that intestinal tract wall, and you start basically plugging up the villi. So when you end up with a bunch of mucoid plaquing like a glue, like covering up those villi, then you end up with what they call malabsorption. You're not able to absorb as well, release toxins as well, and eliminate that waste out of your body as well. So you start so you get some nutrition into your body, but some of it just goes in and goes out, but at the same time putrefies and ferments and building up that mucoid plaquing. So I'm saying this to say this. When I quit eating the animal protein and the cooked foods and processed foods and all that, and when I started doing this, and that mucoid plaquing started coming out of my body, I saw this black, rubber, evil stuff come out of my body for months. It came out, for months it came out. So, but when I got it all out, that's when I cleaned up, and that's when I got healed. So, for whatever that's worth. So that's why Life Biotic has been a very powerful key player to help me make my nut seed yogurts and take a spoon at night before I go to bed and enjoy the benefits of maintaining good intestinal flora in my gut to stay healthy. Here's a guy that was 120 pounds overweight. He learned these 4 principles, and within a year, the 120 pounds were gone. No sag, no flab, looking amazing. So the potential's there for us, if we want it. And in summary, just want to summarize that when we talked about toxemia is the root cause of all sickness and disease, we talked about that, toxic thinking, toxic emotions, and so on and so on and so on. We talked about that, so we want to look at that and rectify that. Another thing, we want to be able to know that we can cleanse and heal and regenerate ourselves by choice, right? By making that powerful choice. We can also learn to create a declaration and reinvent, redesign our lives. And just know that you have a way to, or a path now to be able to start compensating for the enzyme deficiencies in our food. You have access now. And that, so if any of you, for whatever reason, decide you want to get some of these powerful enzymes or the probiotics or whatever it is, then you can just, take a picture of the barcode and then it'll take you right to it for more information or whatever. Now, in summary, also, I want to just give you just a quick glimpse of these powerful enzymes because they're not readily available, pretty much throughout the world. They are available through Paradigm, so to speak, but they're not readily available just anywhere, any place. So when we in my case, back in the day, many years ago, I was able to be a part of a company where it went from zero to a huge company, but 6 years later, they decided to water them down and change and compromise them, so I left. So then I started all over again with someone else that had the high quality stuff, and I did that all over again for 15 years there, and they did the same thing 15 years later. So then I left again. So the third time, I went on water for days, and I asked God to help me form a global company that would be founded on the 4 principles and carry the highest quality and for the best possible price available to the world. And so right after that, that's when that guy gave me the resources to make it happen. So I got to become president, co-founder, creator, guardian of Paradigm. And that's when Paradigm was born. And they asked me what the name was going to be, and I said, I don't know the name, but I know the name's going to represent our vision. And they said, what's the vision? I said, the vision is for us to create a paradigm shift in consciousness and how people live today through these 4 principles. And then that's when my nephew was there, and he said, Paradigm. And it sounded like paradigm, but spelled totally different. So for those of you that want to have a paradigm shift, then you're welcome to do that. Anyway, so Lysozyme is the one I was telling you about when I did the oatmeal demonstration that you can take with meals. People take 3, 4, 5 with each meal. Heck, I've been taking 10 with each meal for umpteen years. I don't even count. I just take them. Now, somebody did ask me the question, can you take too many? And I said, I'll find out. So many years ago, I took 100 of them just to see what would happen. The next day, I went to the bathroom a lot. So then I realized, okay, that's too many. So then that's when I realized, they didn't hurt me. They didn't hurt me, but I should have cleaned my system out. So that's when I realized, okay, that's more than many. That's way more than your body needs, right? Even though it didn't hurt me. So I learned to use the enzymes as I needed to, depending on what I'm eating, right? So if I'm eating raw gourmet food from, let's say, a raw gourmet restaurant as an example, I may take a little bit more during those times compared to maybe the way I live, you know? Because the way I live is different. Because I eat plenty of fruits and vegetables and salads and herbs and all that, but it's all fresh. And the nuts and seeds, I soak them, I germinate them, I culturize them and blah, blah, blah. But raw gourmet food is not always like that. Sometimes, many times they don't soak them first or germinate them or culturize them or whatever. So I'll slam some extra enzymes during those times just to make sure I do what? Digest it. I make sure I well digest whatever I'm eating. So I can do what? So I can absorb it. So I can metabolize it. So I can convert it into energy and eliminate that waste and run clean and efficient, because that's part of the secret behind all this, right? Does it make any sense to you guys? Okay, so that's lifetime. So if you, outside of the 4 principles that you incorporate into your life that we talked about, if you're going to take something outside of the 4 principles, something to compensate for the enzyme deficiencies in the food itself today, you know, whether it's raw or cooked. In my case, even though I do raw living foods, I still take enzymes with my meals, just to compensate for the enzyme deficiencies in the organic raw foods that I eat, because it's coming from enzyme deficient soil. You understand? So Lyzyme, if you're going to do one thing that comes in powder form or capsule form, Lyzyme would be that first thing I would consider adding to my life, Lyzyme, because it's superior, multiple digestive enzymes that can help compensate for the enzyme deficiencies in our food. If you're going to eat cooked food, to me, it's like a must. But if you're going to eat raw living foods, it would be better to take them just to maximize your ability to digest even raw foods, like what I'm doing, if you want to do that. If you're going to do 2 things, then I would definitely consider incorporating Life Biotic. And that's this, Life Biotic. It comes in powder form, 2 ounce, 8 ounce. But Life Biotic is that one where if you want to take a spoon at night before you go to bed with a little water, great for you. But if you want to take and learn how to make almond coconut yogurt and other nut seed yogurts with it, you can go online and watch and learn. It's real simple. It's not a big deal. Life Essentials, that's a whole food complex. I like to use it a way to enhance the nutritional value of my nut seed yogurts. So when I make nut seed yogurts, I definitely enhance the nutritional value by putting Life Essentials, some of it in there. I'll throw a couple heapy tablespoons in it. A lot of people just use it and throw it in their smoothies or dressings or soups. Some people just eat it just like that with a little water, and their hunger's gone in a minute or 2, you know. And sometimes they'll do two spoonfuls, you know, but it actually tastes really, really good. But it's a whole food complex that has an array of a bunch of amino acids, fatty acids, tocotrienols, tocopherols, and carbohydrates in it. So like I say, it's a whole food complex. And not only it tastes good, but it's good for the hair and skin and nails. It's good for the brain. It's good for the heart. It's good for the liver. So it's a good whole food complex that you might appreciate from a nutritional perspective. Raw Life Protein, the reason I like this one is just because I do put it together with Life Essentials when I make my nut seed yogurts. I use it to enhance, again, the nutritional value, but this particular one, I do it to just to kind of assure that I'm getting all the amino acids. Because when you put Life Essentials and Raw Life Protein together, you're assuring that you're getting all 22 amino acids that the body needs, plus a bunch of incredible fatty acids the body wants and needs, okay? Plus it's got a bunch of good carbs in it. And it's enzyme enhanced, it's got probiotics in it, so it's very easy to digest and absorb it. But me, I take it a little further, and I add it to my yogurts and pre-digest it ahead of time. So it's even more bioavailable, even easier to digest when you do it that way. That's kind of like more at an advanced level, you might say. But a lot of people just use it just like that. They just put it right in their smoothies, soups, dressings, whatever. And same thing with Life Essentials. But it's a good, wholesome, plant-based protein complex that I've enjoyed over many years. And a lot of people do. Cleanse, that's more of a, specialized herbs with some special fibers. It has a gentle approach on helping to clean, detoxify your bowels, your intestinal tract. So it attracts toxins to itself, but it is also soothing, healing, restorative, but also moves and drives the toxins out of the intestinal tract. So it's a gentle way to clean, soothe, heal, and move your bowels. And so somehow I consider it kind of like a bowel toner in a sense. But it does more than just that. But it's gentle. So usually people get it in powder form or capsule form. Most people get it in powder form and just take a scoop that's in it already. It comes in a tub something like this size. And you just take a scoop, put in a little container, a glass or whatever, 6-7 ounces of juice or water, mix it up, slam it, wait an hour before you have breakfast or a smoothie or whatever. But let it do its job. Give it an hour to do its job. But it works, and people love and enjoy the benefits of it. Like I said, it's cleansing, healing, soothing, and it's been very favorable for many people. Purazyme, we're almost finished. So Purazyme is the one that is highly concentrated, and the Lyzyme that I talked about earlier is the one people take with meals. Well, that one's 3 times stronger than what doctors are using, but Purazyme is 4 times stronger than Lyzyme. It's a very powerful, highly concentrated spectrum of enzymes that can help take on an empty stomach. An empty stomach just means take it on an hour or more before meals or 2 hours or more after meals. But that just means that when you do it in that time frame, an hour or more before meals or 2 hours or more after, that's when it works systemically in your body. So that means it goes into your bloodstream. And if there's any undigested proteins, carbs, and fats in your body, or protein plaquing, mineral plaquing, fat plaquing, mucoid plaquing, Purazyme helps to break that down and digest it and process it out of the body, which is a huge favor for many of us. So when people are taking it therapeutically, they usually just start off with just 1-3 times a day between the meals, empty stomach. And then they gradually work up to 2, and eventually 3, and work up to gradually up to 10 of each. 10, 3 times a day, empty stomach. And then they stay like that until whatever they have going on is gone. And then after that, they just go on maintenance like I do, 5 in the morning with my lemon ginger blast, you know what I mean? MSM is a plant-based organic sulfur. That it's a special compound that's lacking in most plants today, but MSM is very special and very important for us. Like I say, it's lacking in our plants today. That's why I've been using it for many, many years, kind of like enzymes. But MSM helps you. It makes your cells more permeable, so you're able to absorb better into your cells, the nutrition into your cells, but it also helps you to release toxins from your cells more efficiently. So it can help not just absorb, but release those toxins out of your cells quicker and faster. Very good for the joints, very good for the muscle and muscle tissue and connective tissue. So it's a really good thing to incorporate. So again, 1-3 times a day and then work up to 10 if you have an issue going on. Now for maintenance, I just do 5 Purazyme, 5 MSM in the mornings with my lemon ginger blast. And it's been a very favorable thing to do. And people that have any kind of conditions, they'll do it more therapeutically. They'll do it like 3 times a day. But they'll gravitate to the 10 of each therapeutically 3 times a day. And sometimes 4 times a day, depending on their situation. Herbal blood is a specialized, powerful herbs that are designed and put together to help clean up the blood. So if you want to clean up the blood, then without saying too much, I just want to say that that's what it does. Basically cleanses the blood. That's why we call it herbal blood, because these powerful herbs, that's what it does. It helps to clean up the blood, and it's really good for the cardiovascular issues. So it's very good to use it to assist us to clean up the blood and improve our circulatory part of our bodies, right? And so, again, people have started off with just 1 3 times a day and then work up to 10 of each 3 times a day. And so the 3 musketeers I call are Pyrazyme, MSM, and herbal blood taken together once a day or 3 times a day, and depending on the issue, sometimes they do it 4 times a day, depending on what they need in their issue that they may be dealing with. But me, I just take 5 of each, pretty much about 5 times a day, 5 times a week, Monday through Fridays, sometimes Saturdays, but both at least 5 days a week for maintenance. This is the last one, Pura Life. Pura Life is a powerful probiotic. It's like, in a sense, like Life Biotic, but we added an enzyme called protease, a full spectrum protease enzymes with the probiotics to make it more proteolytic. Because there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of undigested proteins in their system. So taking a powerful probiotic with additional protease enzymes, not just to establish good friendly bacteria, but to go after those undigested proteins. So when people have issues going on, we always find lots of accumulation of undigested proteins. That's why we created it in the way we did. So people usually take it at nighttime before they go to bed. Some people take it in the morning and night. But if you take it in the morning, take it in the morning. Some people take, 3 or 4 in the morning, 3 or 4 at night, and some people work up to 10 and 10. Some people work up to 20 and 20, again, depending on their issue, So, but again, that one that comes in capsule form only, just so you know. Yeah. And so I have used it, and I appreciate it. But I usually use the Life Biotic on a maintenance level. I use a spoon at night before I go to bed. But if I didn't have Life Biotic, then I would take the Pure Life. I might pop 5 or 10 before I went to bed. Something like that. And a lot of people like capsule form, so that's what they use. But me, I like the Life Biotic mostly because it's powder form. It's easy to use for me. Plus, I like to make my yogurts with it. I don't make my yogurts with Pure Life because it has protease enzymes in it, and it doesn't taste as good. It breaks it down probably faster because of the protease enzymes in there. So I'm just saying it culturizes faster, but it doesn't taste as good. The Life Biotic tastes good. If you just taste the Life Biotic by itself, it actually tastes good. I mean, you actually enjoy it. But when you make yogurt with it, it tastes really good, like you said. And by the way, tonight after we get done, we're just finishing here. But when we do get done, I want you guys to go out there in the back and try to see if you can take a sample of the almond coconut yogurt and the cilantro dip that I made back there, just so you kind of get a sense of it. Outside of that, so you listen to this conversation. How did it go for you? Did it really, really, truly make sense to you, the things I talked about? Was it worth your time coming all the way over here to learn about it and understand it to a deeper level? Now, I got to ask you, Anthony, you have been to many, 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 many talks. What did you take home with you today? I mean, what did you get out of today? Really, for someone that's been around this, living it for 15 years, and you've been to many, many, many talks like this, what did you get out of today?
What I'm always present to, and it's not just for today's seminar, but just what I'm present to all the time when I've attended all the seminars throughout the years, is just how amazing knowledge is. Like it's really a blessing to have this information available. And I was just reflecting as I was listening to you speak today, and I said to myself, I'm truly thankful that you exist and that this information has made itself available. Because however you see the world today, right, it doesn't take much to understand that things kind of don't make sense right now. Things are just in a state of disarray, right? Mm-hmm. But it's so powerful that there's light at the end of a dark tunnel. and that there's this amazing knowledge that, how we're really supposed to live. We're really electromagnetic beings. We're made in the image of our Creator. We're meant to have amazing lives. Like you said, we're not meant to suffer. And I really believe that in the depth of my soul, that we're not meant to suffer, but for whatever reason, right? That's the way things are right now. It's the state of human consciousness, right? But I'm blessed that I know all of us are blessed here, that we can really absorb it, grapple with it, really be with it, face the individual challenges that we all have to deal with, right, to reach the level of health that we want to have, right? And for me, I've decreed it and I've declared that, this is one of the ways that I will contribute to humanity, is that I want, starting with myself, starting with my family, starting with my kids, when I have children, I want them to take this on. Because I've lived it, I've experienced it, and I know that when I get intentional and I really do this work, people around me really pay attention, and they really absorb it. They want to know what's going on. Like, you look different, your energy's different, your frequency's different, right? And the same thing has happened to my parents, to family members that have really taken this on. Everyone really benefits, right? And then what manifests is less suffering for everyone, right? Everyone truly gets to really live as our Creator intended, that we live lean, clean, powerful, serene lives. So really that's what's present here, and it's amazing that you can really get it in just 3 hours. I think that's how long we were sitting here, 2 hours and a half or so, right? So it's amazing that information, that knowledge, right? Knowledge is really power. So really, thank you for living it. Thank you for having the integrity. Thank you. One of the things you've said that I really appreciate too is you've always said, I do this because I love myself. And I really appreciate myself, and to really take that on, right? To really love yourself, to really get that like you can really appreciate yourself that way. That's beautiful, man. That's, I've decreed it, that's my expression. That's who I am. And that's what I stand for with others around me, and I know that's what you're all about. So, that's what I'm taking away for today, so it's awesome.
Bingo. Wow.
Yeah.
That was huge. Thank you so
right
much.
On.
So what did you get out of today? What was it like for you? Please share your name and what you got out of it today, just so I have an idea what you're taking home with you.
Well, I'm glad that I got to come and join everybody today. My testimony is very, very similar to yours. I was not well almost 30 years ago and cried out to God and asked for Him to heal me. And He didn't. But He gave me revelation knowledge. And by applying that revelation knowledge, I have for 30 years lived without an aspirin or anything in my body. And I'm a vital, older person living the vida loca. Because this is true. So it was great just to be around another person that, God is not willing that any man suffer. We will face challenges and problems in this life, that's guaranteed, but we don't have to do it with a decaying body and the diseases that are put upon so many in this world, most by our own self-will. So it was great just to get a confirmation. Everything that you preach is my message as well. I say each one reach one. So just God bless you in your works. Again, product orientation, that type of thing. I do have questions, but...
we'll definitely come up with those. We'll address them for sure.
But thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Nathan, what'd you get out of today? I want to hear it. What'd you get out?
So I'm a lot newer to raw living foods. I actually have a tumor in my bladder that was discovered a couple years ago. And I've been on a health journey for the last 3 years, trying to figure out no doctors can, their solution is surgeries, get rid of the bladder, all of this extreme stuff. And so part of me just said, no, there has to be another way. And so for the last couple of years, I've been on this journey, 2023. And it wasn't until I watched I found you on YouTube 3 months ago. It was Gillian and you on YouTube. And then I ran into you at a raw restaurant in Orange County a few months ago and learned about and you started telling me about enzymes and all of this. And we've stayed in communication, and I've ran into you a few more times. And for the first time, I feel like I'm onto something new and I'm on the right path. And so right now I'm just cleansing, eating raw living foods. I've probably lost 40 pounds, not weight I wanted to lose, but it's just part of the process of cleaning out.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I kind of just reflected on what you just said about the cleansing and losing some weight.
Yeah.
Well, I run 5'9", 160. When I was doing all this cleansing and fasting and 100 days on juice and water and 40 days on water and all that, I went down to 100 pounds. But when I got rid of all the gunk and got rid of all that waste, I literally felt like my body had cleaned itself out, flushed itself out. It was almost like rebuilding a house, in a sense. You know how sometimes they gut out the house and they take all the stuff out, and then they rebuild it and put all the stuff back in there? Well, I kind of felt like that. And so after I went down to 100 pounds and the tumor was gone and everything was gone with it, my body just rebuilt itself, on raw living foods, cultured foods and all that. It just came right back. It took a few months, but I rebuilt, regenerated, and I've been like this for 52 years almost. So I'm just saying that to encourage you to continue cleansing, healing, and let your body do whatever it does, and weight-wise, whatever it does. And then when it gets done, and the tumor's gone, and this is gone, and then it rebuilds itself. Because I've been through it so many times with so many people, so I've not just experienced it myself, but I've seen it with many people, so.
I echo all of Anthony's words. I'm so grateful to have met you, and you are truly an inspiration. And thank you so much for being on this earth.
One last person, Nancy, way in the back, I recognized her.
Hi, Lou.
Hey.
I'm so glad I came. And I got introduced to Lou's work many, many years ago and did not follow your work except periodically. I was inspired by it, but I didn't do it. And then I got reintroduced to your work because my fiance passed away about 10 months ago. And after that happened, I ended up in the hospital with a reaction, and they didn't know if it was a mini stroke or a nerve something. It had similar, the pinched nerve had this similar characteristics as a small mini stroke. So they didn't determine what it was, but I called Lou right away. That was my, response to that. After 3 days in the hospital, I thought, I got to call Lou again. And so a few months ago, I met up with Lou and had some intensive work done, three full days. It was just incredible to have Lou all to myself in the sense of training, a program that he offers. And I realized today what's really impactful for what you said and being here is I listened to the questions you were asking yourself that led you to making the most informed choice for yourself. That meant more to me than a lot of things I've viewed, because I'm a lawyer by training. I don't practice law, but I'm a lawyer by training. And in my training, they always said, it's not the answers you come up with, it's the questions you ask that leads you to the most powerful questions or most answers, or the most appropriate answers for the situation. So one of the questions you shared earlier was in the cellular communication part, where you said, I wrote it down, is this going to serve me? And that just struck me. If I ask myself that question every time I'm faced with whatever foods are in front of me, I think I will make the right choice. And because I'm also I'm looking at any other question you asked that I wrote down, but I'm in a job that requires a lot of entertaining with clients. And there's a lot of food and foods that I probably should have, not probably, that inside of your work would not eat. Sometimes I slip. And if I ask that question, I won't slip. And then the last thing I want to say to you is that I loved also that I love you, first off, so I want to be clear what I love. I love you, as been expressed already, that you are on this planet with us, showing us a whole new way of living life. It's just, music to my ears, touches my heart, and I want you to. I'm rooting for you and for all of us. The last thing I want to say that you said that I'm taking away with me is that you said it all starts with speaking, declaration. Mm-hmm. That also hit home for me. If it all starts there, it just starts there. Declare that I'm going to live my life like that and cleanse myself and be healthy. I think that's powerful. It's a powerful way to start. So that's what I got out of it, Luke.
Wow, that was powerful. Powerful. Thank you, Nancy. Oh yeah, for sure. See you. Oh, thank you, Nancy. Appreciate you. So now we have the privilege to have Gillian. I think you're still up for it. Gillian's going to, in a sense, introduce herself and share a little bit about herself. And yeah. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Yeah. Sorry I was late, everyone.
No, that's okay.
You want me to use this?
I guess you could.
Does this sound okay?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sounds
Okay, well,
great.
let's give it up for Lou. You're amazing.
And Gillian,
You're so amazing. I truly don't know anyone more passionate about health. I spend hours and hours on the phone with Lou, and he's just the real deal. Lives, embodies this, and 72 years old, almost 73, right? This is amazing. So this is part of what motivates me to continue on such a healthy lifestyle is seeing people thriving in their 70s on the raw foods, on the plant foods. Sorry I was late, but I was just interviewing somebody else who's high raw, Mimi Kirk. She is 85 years old, and she's written 7 books in her 70s. She's traveling the world. She's doing art every day, doing podcasts, so busy. So this is something I notice with people who are raw or high raw, and I don't notice that with a lot of other people. I personally know a lot of people living standard American lifestyle in their 70s, people close to me who are deteriorating. They're not thriving. So for me, at 41 years old, part of the reason I take such good care of myself now is because I want to be like this when I'm in my 70s. This should be typical for us, right? So it's crazy. Sorry, I'm not going by the exact presentation. But yeah, no, this is just what motivates me. This is what makes me just driven, and the energy I feel on raw living foods. People often say to me, literally almost every day, because they see me accomplishing so much. I'm doing podcasts. I'm so close to my kids. I do a great job, in my opinion, as a mother. And I just do so many things, the videos, the content. I don't know if anybody's a content creator here, but it's a lot of work. You have to continually keep going. You can't really take too many breaks. I'm launching a skincare line, so many other things, and it's the raw foods. People say, how do you do this, Gillian? Almost every day. I don't know how you do it. I see your stories and I can feel the energy. And it's the raw foods. It's the living foods. Like Lou was saying, they give you life. Like he was saying, you can't expect life from the dead foods. So I only wish I found this path sooner. Mm-hmm. I found this path when I was about 33 years old. I developed a lot of health problems after my first daughter was born, May. So this was about 11, almost 12 years ago. And just the problems. There were so many random problems. Back acne, panic attacks, major digestive problems. I even had blood in my stool, and I was very depressed. And there were just so many different problems going on, and none of the doctors could give me answers. Nobody knew what was happening. And they were just like, maybe you're a new mom, it's this, it's that, but I just knew I'm not supposed to feel this way. So this was me before. This was actually me in university when I used to just live for pizza and beer. And I was just like, I was actually 20, I think I was 22 there, and I was just chasing something that isn't possible to get unless you eat raw food. So it wasn't until I started eating raw food that I felt like my true self for the first time. And me in that picture, that was me trying to search for that through substances like alcohol or, addictive foods like the cheese and things like that, and I never found it. So all those health problems, led me to those doctors, like I was saying. And the 18th doctor I saw literally said, maybe you have celiac disease. So it was really frustrating too, not knowing like where are these problems coming from. It can be so frustrating for people, right? So it's part of the reason I love doing interviews on YouTube, and like I get it, it's frustrating. And then I went home. I thought, what is celiac? I realized it's an autoimmune, basically a severe allergy to gluten. Gluten being something I was eating every day of my life, every meal, bagels, pizza, you name it. Like every meal was gluten. So I thought, that's interesting, right? Like what? I removed gluten. I kid you not, within 24 hours, I felt like a completely different person. It was like the brain fog that I didn't even realize I had lifted. So a lot of times people don't even realize how bad they feel until they get out of that, just like a bad relationship. Sometimes you don't realize till you change your diet, okay, this was really bad for me, just like that toxic relationship. So anyway, removing the gluten, that was a game changer. My anxiety went away, like a lot of it. And I just literally couldn't believe the difference in my body. It was like a big weight had been lifted off of my shoulders. And that started my path towards raw food. And that's when I really realized how everything we consume affects us. Everything. I mean, it's not all food. Everything we consume as far as content goes and everything. We should be following people who inspire us. We should be going through our list on our phone. I interviewed G. Bryant in Miami last year. He said he goes through his phone, his contacts. Like, are these people adding value? Is this a positive relationship? If not, like, cut it off, right? Like, and anyway, yeah, so going raw, or I removed the gluten, totally changed my life. That led me to study foods like all the time. I came across Dr. Sebi in 2016. And he was talking about raw foods. So I thought, this is weird. How have I never heard of this before? I was like 33 too. I only wish I found this path sooner and hadn't spent my 20s drinking and eating crappy food, but it was meant to be, I guess. So anyway, I tried the raw living foods. It was the best I'd ever felt in my whole life by the afternoon of the first day. So I was lucky. I know that's not the case for everyone. And some people go through detox, or it takes a time to get to that point where you feel really good. But literally, that's when I truly felt like my real self. And I just wanted to scream it from the rooftops. People would come over. I'd make them a salad and be like, this is it. Like, don't drink that beer. Don't eat that pizza. They'd be like, okay, Jill. But it just, I guess, maybe because it aligned me with my purpose, I just felt so connected. Like, this is it. And I can't even explain it. All I can say is I felt like my true self, my highest self. And I'd never felt that in the 33 years before that, which is crazy. And yet I've fallen in love with raw. And it's not boring. I think some people think I could never do that. It's like a life sentence, or I couldn't go without my wine and pizza and beer. But no, this is the way. It's so amazing. You feel your best, you live your best, and then you're thriving like Lou and like Mimi Kirk. And I have some other people in this presentation too, like Fred Bishy. He's in his 90s. I interviewed him last year in Staten Island. He's 94, 60 years raw vegan. And and here's another one. Okay, let's talk about Sarah before we get to Fred. Sarah had major health problems. She was in a wheelchair. She is one of my favorite stories ever. And the doctors just basically said there's nothing else they can do. I forget the name of what she had, but they said basically, your days are numbered. You're not going to live a long life. Like, we're sorry. There's nothing else we can do. Things are going to end soon, or at a point in the near future. And she went home, and somehow she heard about juice cleansing and raw foods. She did a 365-day juice cleanse. It might have been 366, actually. And on the last day, so she was in a wheelchair before. On the last day, she was running a marathon. Yeah, no, I wish I could show you guys the clip. I should have put it in here, but it's so inspiring, right? It gives me goosebumps. Like, it's incredible. And this was a few years ago now, and she's still absolutely thriving. So there's so many amazing stories, so much proof out there, right? Mm-hmm. And this is Rosie. So her actual real name is Kelsey. She's on Instagram. She is one of my favorite people ever. Just look at the transformation. I don't even have to say, you can see in the visuals the difference in her. She was depressed before, had so many chronic health problems, chronic fatigue, chronic this, chronic that, everything, all these different medical terms going on. And she went raw, and within like 2 to 3 months, all her symptoms, and she had some serious ones, were cleared up, and she's glowing, and she's happy. It makes you happy. It makes you your best self. That's what we want in this life, right? To be our best self. We're not here, and cheat days here and there, in my opinion, they do set us back, and the foods are addictive. I've interviewed people who are like, They just slipped and had something one day, and then like 10 years later, they're still eating those cooked foods. And like, I just think we got to make the right choices in every instance. And yeah, these people, because I interview so many amazing people, right? I travel the world to interview these people who are mostly raw or high raw. And so on the left, Dr. Fred Bishy, 60 years raw vegan. I went to his home in Staten Island last year. I've never seen anybody in such good health, especially in their 90s. He might be 95 now. But running around the house, showing me things, like up and down the stairs. His hearing was perfect, no glasses, doing podcasts, still taking clients all day long. Like, these aren't typical things I see with people who just treat their bodies like whatever and eat like the rest of the world, who eat the standard American diet. These are the just big things that stand out to me, because I don't see this when we walk out in society and see everybody else. I'm not seeing these 94-year-olds doing 6 podcasts in a day, and the guy had just as much or more energy than me, and he's 95, 94. It's unbelievable. And 60 years on raw foods, right? So there's cases it shows, like, and he eats a variety of food. He doesn't believe in extremes. So, like, we did touch on fruitarian or different diets. He did say, like, he just believes in having a wide variety and eating healthy. And it works for him. And he does juicing. I think green juicing is really important too, like the lemon ginger blast. Almost every person, I interview a lot of people who changed their life through juice fasting. And almost every interview, they say their top go-to juice is the lemon ginger blast, right? Yeah, you would know, Anthony. I got to interview you after this. Right away, yeah, you're on my list. So, and then Karen, she's in Chicago. She's an icon. I'm sure some of you might know who she is, right? So she's 76 or 77, and she's mostly raw vegan. And then, yeah, Rick Lambert on the right, I interviewed him last year. He's still flying airplanes, and he's 94 years old now. And he's in business meetings all day. So this is something to take note of. I don't think there's enough people talking about this. This really stands out to me, and it's proof in the pudding, right? So yeah, I love this lifestyle, you guys. It changed my life truly like nothing else. I don't even want to know where I would be right now at 41, almost 42. If I didn't go raw at 33, I had a lot of health problems. I was not thriving. I was very depressed, very tired, covered in acne all over my back in my 30s. My digestion was a mess. I had parasites. I had all kinds of problems. Like so many, I have regular panic attacks where I thought I was going to die. I don't know if you guys have ever had those, but they're scary, and they were a common thing. Since being raw, I've never had any of these problems. And just not only getting rid of all the raw, it's just what's shocked me is just how good I feel. Like, this makes me feel my best, so that's why I do it. It's worth the time to prioritize the foods. I'm traveling right now. I'm from Toronto, so I'm here in LA for a week and then going to Hawaii to interview. You guys know Fully Raw Christina? Anybody? Yeah, I'm going to interview her. Yeah, lots of amazing interviews here in LA this week with amazing people like Lou and everybody, and then to Hawaii for a week. And I still stick to the raw. Like, you make it work wherever you go because you want to feel your best. You want to be at your best because especially who knows what life can throw at us. That's what Mimi and I were just talking about earlier. You never know what can happen. And when you're at your best, you're way more well-equipped mentally and physically to handle that and to take that on versus if you're eating standard American, you're feeling like crap, you're maybe abusing substances, and then life throws some obstacles at you. It might hit you 10 times worse. Who knows what'll happen, right? So this is an amazing path. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I mean, it's funny because I'm late and we're doing the intro after. So let's give a warm welcome for Lou. No, Lou, you're amazing. I admire you so much. I truly do. And like I said, I know people around the same age, and I wish the people I was close to that are the same age as you were healthy like you. It's a great reason to eat this way because we want to be around for our children and for our grandchildren, right? That's part of the reason I take care of myself now at 41. I want to be around to meet my great-grandkids. My daughter started crying the other night thinking, oh no, I don't want you to die one day. Just, how kids can get like that. I'm like, no, don't worry, Mommy's going to live so long, right? But that's a great reason for us to take care of ourselves, for the self-love, for living a long life for the people. We want to see our kids and our kids' kids and their kids and be around and accomplish things. Like I said, with Mimi, with Lou, you see, it's all about still creating, never stopping just because we get to a certain age. We got to keep going and be open to go with the flow and to change things. Don't just get stuck on, I invested so much time in this career and this, I have to stay in it. If that's not speaking to your heart or speaking to you, then get out of it. It's like Mimi and I were talking about this today. I think it's really important because it's not all food. Yeah, we have to follow our heart, follow what gets us excited, follow the love, and even if, no matter what that means, even if it means losing money for a bit. And typically, though, when you follow your heart and you're following your passion, the money will just come, and life just, yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce the man of the evening. Lou, you're amazing. And I know your products are amazing. Everything you do is amazing. I admire you and I love you.
I love you
Yeah,
back.
and you're just,
And you
you
too.
change so many people's lives.
Thank you.
Truly. I mean, thank God. And who knows where you'd be right now if you didn't follow this path. You were meant to follow this path,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Little did I know.
Right?
At one time, I was feeling sorry for myself when I was ill and had the tumor and this and that. There was a moment where I was going, why me? What did I do, right? And so I had that poor me syndrome going on for a little bit. But then once I learned what I did and experienced what I did, then I was grateful that I got to experience all the things I experienced. Because having all that pain and suffering and going through it all, it gave me empathy. It gave me empathy. And so little did I know it was preparing me for doing this type of work. Preparing me because I was able to get a sense and to feel how others have gone through whatever they're going through. I've been there, I've experienced it, so have you. So it makes us passionate about what we're doing, so others can get their life and excel, because that's the way it was intended for all of us to have that going on. So, yeah.
I want to take advantage and ask a question.
Yeah.
Hi, Gillian. I wanted to ask this question, very important, I'm sure, for all the females, about bioidentical HRT, perimenopause, menopause. What raw women do to increase the estrogen and testosterone? For example, I went to naturopathic doctor and she told me that she can prescribe me for 3 months and it's out of pocket. It's $700 and I don't want it to take this for all my life. If there is a way or solution to go without HRT.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure you ask many women.
but yeah,
I'm sure you ask many women who on this pathway, like from Chicago woman Karen, but she always talks like very little about this topic. That's why I was like, nobody like really shares what they do in this period of time.
Yeah. No, I haven't gone through this, but I'm becoming more aware of this, and I know a lot of people want to talk about this. So this is something I've been bringing up more. I did bring this up with Mimi today. Well, she was talking about she has some estrogen problems right now, but she found this out about 5 years ago. But she's chosen to just do nothing, and she says she feels fine. And I find a lot of the people I interview, they say, well, it wouldn't be natural to take the hormones, so they just don't do anything. But I don't know too much about this, so I don't want to say, because I haven't gone through it yet, too.
Maybe I could shed a little
But
bit of
yeah,
light
maybe
on it.
what you know, but I do want to research more about this and find out. I know Marcus and Kara talk about this a lot, and like I know he's a really good resource for that too, and Lou might be able to chime in. Yeah.
Well, first of all, remember you said she, what's her name again?
Mimi Kirk.
Mimi Kirk, yeah. She's high raw, right? So here's my take on it. So what I find is when people go into hormonal imbalances and they start going through menopause, hot flashes and various things start going on. And then they find out that they have a hormonal imbalance and they start doing hormonal replacements and so on, right? But what's interesting is, as soon as all these different women that have had these hormonal imbalances, as soon as they take the time to cleanse their liver gallbladder meridian, but you cannot clean the liver and gallbladder meridian properly unless you do a full-blown intestinal cleanse first. You know what I mean? So, but when you do the whole body, clean it up, flush it out, get the intestinal tract cleaned out, do a liver gallbladder flush, and do it several times until it's all cleaned up and get rid of all that plaquing. And then when it comes time to rebuilding, you go 100%. You go 100% on raw living foods. The reason, not high raw, I mean 100% raw living foods, 100%. So, oh yeah, you said all, okay. And then on top of that, because what I find when it comes to hormones, it's really important to getting all the amino acids all the protein amino acids to rebuild, to regenerate, and to manufacture the necessary hormones besides metabolic enzymes. That's why I like the idea of taking all seeds and nuts or whatever and soak and germinate them. And if they don't germinate, culturize them, pre-digest them. And that's why I like to add the Life Essentials and Raw Life Protein to it, just to enhance the nutritional value so that, but when you pre-digest it, and now you make all the protein amino acids bioavailable to the cells, the body then is able to regenerate itself. And so what I find is that when people really do a proper type of a cleansing process and get all cleaned up and get rid of, and that's why I like to do live blood analysis, so I can see if the blood is really clean and really healthy. Because if it's not, we need to do something about that. You know what I mean? But when it comes to rebuilding, regenerating, it's ideal to go 100% and stay 100%. If you want 100% results, you go 100%. True. I think you're 100%. I'm 100%. She 100%. See, but also taking that little extra time to soak and germinate the seeds, and also to the ones that don't germinate or activate, enzyme activate, then culturize them. And then that way it's highly enzyme activated, pre-digested, and bioavailable. So you can rebuild and regenerate and maintain cellular integrity. That's what I'm talking about. So my friend, I guess 27 years ago, I thought he was 42 when I met him, and he was 75. I really thought he was around 41, 42 when I met him. He was 75, and he could do this plank that I did on the table for 30 minutes. My record's 7 minutes, and that's pretty good, but 30 minutes is ridiculous. 30 minutes is like over the top, and he was 75. So my goal in my life, 3 years from now, I'm turning 73, so that'd be 2 more years from now. I'm actually planning, by the time I'm 75, just in a couple years, to be able to work up to that 30 minutes, to hold that plank for 30 minutes, which would be pretty cool, right? Oh, yeah.
For somebody that's been raw for so many years and has gone through the menopausal experience, I think when we're looking, especially in the Western world, we have so much emphasis on menopause to try to avoid the experience. The experience is going to happen. It's part of aging. And a lot of times, because of what is propagated through social media, we kind of make it look like we can't age. No, we're going to age, and we should embrace that part. But it doesn't mean you're going to deteriorate. You're going to stay in a consistent mode. I went to a doctor and had all my tests done, and he says, basically your hormones are shutting down. And I said, okay, well, and he goes, well, I want to recommend an HRT. And I said, well, what if I don't take the HRT? And when do you see in my life that I will start having like physical deterioration? He goes, well, you're in good health. He goes, probably when you're about 70 to 80. And I said, well, at that age, it should probably happen anyway. So, but if we go follow the foods that are there, they're there. I mean, the food is there designed for us to live a long, vital life. That's the starting point. And when we just you're talking about the stinking thinking, fear will shut us down. It literally changes our metabolical system because of fear. And so when we just know, hey, I'm an old lady, it's good. And I go out, I literally was roller skating this morning, right? So it's like, it's okay. And so the foods offer us what we need to stay healthy and well into our senior and double senior years. So I think a lot of it is just our mind as well.
Thank you for your input. Well, gosh, you could tell that we could be here all night answering questions and answers and all that. But let me take a moment to thank you for coming today, and just sharing some of your input and some of your questions and what have you. But for us, it was a real privilege to have you here today, and a real privilege to be able to just be in this space, and then whatever recording took place today and however it gets edited and put together, one day, like Lord willing, it will be available for us to share with our friends and family, whatever, you know what I mean? So, and I look forward to that day. So thank you once again for coming, and thank you for being who you are, and may you excel into your future, and please keep us posted on how things go for you. And just know that we're still doing the talks at Aulick. Aulick is a raw gourmet restaurant in Fountain Valley. We're still doing those talks the first Tuesday of each month. Aulick is AU and then LAC. AU, LAC in Fountain Valley. It's a little bit north of here. The first Tuesday of each month is when I do the talks there at 7 p.m. But the next one is going to be, I think, June 4th, June 4th, I believe, is the first Tuesday of June. But anyway, these talks that we do there are similar to this one, but they're always a little different. They never are the same. Anthony's been to like many of them, and always different, right? Always have a different 7 p.m. Yeah. Anyway, thank you once again for just being awesome and being here and contributing yourselves. And again, may you take the things you've learned today from listening to Gillian and myself and those like Anthony and various others. And by the way, as you're walking out, please stop by and see Angela and Isabella, and have them give you a little sample of the almond coconut yogurt and that little cilantro dip out there, just so you can experience it for yourselves if you're open to that. Anyway, thank you again. Love you guys.
Let's give them another big hand. Lou Corona and Gillian Berry. I'm going to put up a title slide up on the screen.
You're so awesome.
You are.
My name is Kip Hyams. I'm the producer-director. And if you look up Kip Hyams on YouTube, you'll be able to find us real easily.
California?
No, we're based out of
Thank you all. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves.
Oh, okay. But it's in the U.S. It's not.
But we ship all over.
overseas or anything.
No, we ship all over the world, though. Yeah.